Hi everyone, I am Jilyana, the Senior Program Director of Health and Wellness at the Southtowns YMCA, and I'm here this week for our Healthy Living topic of the week. This week we are talking about mindfulness. So that word is used a lot, and there's a lot of talk about being mindful and mental health and positivity and taking time for ourselves, which is all great, and I'm very excited to add to that conversation and talk to you today about how to be mindful with our eating and exercise plans. So I have a list here of a couple different things. On this side in my red title, I have mindless, and we'll talk about that more. And then in my green means go, mindful. So let's walk through a couple of these examples and talk about how they could be either mindless activities or mindful activities. These are also going to work for both eating and exercise in some cases, or one or the other. We'll talk through those when we get them. Okay? So in my mindless category, my first point is eating past full. So when we're talking about healthy eating habits, we want to make sure that we're eating and listening to our bodies. So research has shown that it has taken about 20 minutes for your stomach to let your brain know and your brain to process that you are full. So taking slow bites of food, fully chewing your food before you swallow, fully swallowing, thinking about your food before you take your next bite, it's really going to slow you down and make sure that you are letting your body get connected and make sure that you're not eating past full. So mindless eating, eating past full, not listening to your body, not thinking about it, that's going to lead to some excess calories. Emotions or being bored. This is something that can work for both food and exercise. So emotional eating, I'm sure we've all been there. We're eating because we're bored. We're eating because it's in front of us. And then also kind of for the negative for exercise, if we're having a bad day and we don't really feel like going to exercise, that's okay. We can take those days, listen to your body. But that's also being a little bit mindless and thinking that your physical activity can take the back burner for the day. If we're feeling overwhelmed, exercise is a stress reliever, so that might actually be a great idea to do on those days that you're feeling a little extra stressed. So emotions and being bored fall under our mindless category, and we want to make sure that we're aware of the choices that we're making when we're dealing with our emotional situations. Multitasking, again, for both, so eating while we're doing things. The classic story, watching TV, eating our bag of chips. So instead of taking the whole bag of chips into the living room, maybe we break up the bag into its serving size. We talked about serving sizes last week. Serving size bags that you only eat as much as you are tracking or should be eating for that snack. So when you have the bag right next to you and you just keep grabbing and going, and then we're eating past full, we're multitasking, and we might just be eating because we're bored. So a lot of these are connected to each other. Exercise, the same. If you're really distracted when you're exercising, you might not be getting your best workout when you are lifting weights and answering emails in between, or you're in a class and you're checking your watch. You might not be getting the best exercise. So really taking the time for yourself to make sure that you're focusing on either your eating or your exercise. And then situational cues, similar to our multitasking, but the situation of going to the movies and getting popcorn, while you can do that, that is okay, fit it into your world, but being aware of if you really need that popcorn or do you really need the large versus the medium versus the small. Situational cues also with your exercise. If you plan on going to a class at a certain day and time and your girlfriend calls and wants to go for a drink instead, but you really don't have the extra time to get in your activity that day, you're making a choice. So make sure that you're making the best choice for you and that you can change these situational cues to be more positive with what you're doing. Going to the movies, you can bring your own snacks, bring a healthier snack, maybe get the popcorn without the butter, or make sure you're eating a better lunch, better breakfast, better dinner to be able to fit that popcorn into your night. So those are some of our mindless habits. Let's talk about how we can flip it into mindful habits. So our first one is listening to our body. So again, that is for eating and exercise. Stopping and starting. So We had talked about eating and making sure that we are giving our body enough time to let our brain know that we're full. Same thing with exercise. And if you are not feeling your best that day and you're usually at maybe a level 3 of activity and you need to drop it down to a level 1, that is okay. So making sure that you're really listening to your body. If you're really sore, if you need to take it down, if you need a rest day, those are all things we want to make sure that we're building into our programs. Also, to start, so we don't necessarily have to always eat breakfast at 7 a.m. or we don't always have to eat dinner at 5 p.m. or whatever times are in your world. So listening to your body to really make sure that you're eating when you're hungry. Now, if that just happens to be 7 a.m. every day, that's all right. But really making sure that you're only eating if you're hungry, as opposed to knowing that I'm supposed to eat at this time every day, no matter what. There's a little bit more wiggle room there. Quality choices, so really making sure that you're paying attention to what you are choosing to do. So what we're eating, we want to make sure we're getting our My Plate, which is what we talked about 2 weeks ago, making sure we're getting our healthy carbs, proteins, and fats that we talked about last week. Quality choices, where's your food coming from? What are you eating? How is it made? And then with exercise, making sure you're picking the best exercise for you. Is it too challenging? Is it not challenging enough? Is it helping you reach your goals? Thinking about those choices mindfully, okay? Single activity, this is the opposite of our multitasking, so making sure that you're really paying attention to what you're doing. When you're eating, turn the phones off, turn the computers off, turn the TV off, sit at the table, either by yourself or with your family or friends, and make sure that you're focusing on what you're eating. Exercise, same thing, try to tune out all the noise and make sure that you're really focusing on your exercise. And then positively change the cue. So if we are always going to nap right after Thanksgiving dinner, maybe you push your nap back 30 minutes and go take a walk outside before. Or if it's always movie and a popcorn, maybe the next time you do something, it could be bowling, where that's an activity, it's physically active. So positively change the cue to help you reach your health and wellness goals. Same thing with exercise. If you find that you're setting your goal to be coming to a 5:30 a.m. workout class and you're not a morning person, you're not setting yourself up for success with that. So I want you to think about changing the cue. Maybe you change your 5:30 a.m. class goal to the 5:30 p.m. class goal, and that's going to help you be a little bit more successful. So a mindful choice is really taking the time to listen to yourself, think about what's going to work best for you and how you're going to set yourself up for success to reach your health and wellness goals. So in this world right now where our schedules may be shifted for the better, for the worse, crazy, less crazy, we really want to make sure that we're taking the time for ourselves and making positive choices. So when you are thinking about your weekly plan and setting up your SMART goals, which we talked about 3 weeks ago, I hope you're still sticking with those and renewing those each week. So really making sure that you're picking some of these mindful choices when you're setting yourself up for your weekly plan. Any questions on mindfulness and mindless activities versus mindful activities for healthy eating or physical activity, please feel free to leave a comment under the video or on our YMCA Buffalo Niagara Facebook page, and I will be happy to get back to you. And join me next week for our healthy living topic of the week. I'll see you then. Bye.